Next, let's pick the trainer up and put it on our shoulders. When we first start going into some tucks, getting our weight into our shoulders, and when we go in and out of the trainer, there's some things that are really important. One of them is that we don't load weight into the acromion right here at the end of the scapula, not scapula, the collarbone, the clavicle, that we don't load weight into the acromion at the end of the clavicle, or that we don't roll through the clavicle. So if you get into any kind of back bending position, or if you get into, let's say when we're an ostrich and then you start moving in, if you load into your shoulders instead of into your hands and your arms, you're going to roll through this area. Not going to be very comfortable. So you can also tell a lot about where you are in position of your spine by where your shoulders are on the trainer. So let's say I'm in a back bendy position, but the trainer's standing on the ceiling. Where is the trainer going to be? It's going to be more on the front of my shoulders. And that can kind of give me this clue that I'm in a back bend. So if I start to correct into more neutral, naturally, because this trainer has to stay, it's obviously not going to move if it's attached to the ceiling. It's on the tops of my shoulders. What if the opposite happens? What if I get into a flexed position, but the trainer stays stable, a little bit more on the back of my shoulders? This we will be practicing. So what is safe for your shoulders? What's really good for your shoulders? You don't need your hands. You don't need to push in your hands if you're on the top of your shoulders or the backs of your shoulders. No hands necessary as far as pushing in. You might pull, you might stabilize, you don't need to push. Where you do really need to push, and this is something I've learned the hard way from experience, is when you're coming into these kinds of positions here, where the trainer weight, the trainer contact starts to go to the front of your shoulders, if your elbows are in, boom, and this is something I have to remind people of when we're in person, is to bring those elbows in. So I need you to kind of say that to yourself when you're practicing, is say elbows in, load the weight into the bones. You don't have to use your muscles, and load the weight into your forearms rather than keeping the weight in your shoulders. Tuck those elbows in, load the weight in here so the weight comes off of your shoulders when you're going up and down. That's going to be super important, that you don't roll like this with your weight through the front of your shoulders. Now, we can roll like this with the weight in the back of the shoulders. We will be doing that. That's super fun and really therapeutic. You get this excellent shoulder massage. Those are two really important things to remember. And you can practice with a mirror. What I would suggest that you do is find a mirror in your home, take the trainer, put it on your shoulders, and then practice mountain. And once you're in mountain, go out of mountain. So go into a back bend, but then make the trainer, the top of the trainer parallel to the floor, and see where it sits on your shoulders. Collarbones right now, not good. Let's say I'm more in a flexion. This would be okay, but if I'm going for straight up and down, it's not going to work because it's on the back of my shoulders and I'm not going to be able to get up and down. But if I'm in mountain, and you can start working through your core here, also reading not just visually, but hopefully internally, the ear, the shoulder, the hip, the knee, the ankle, and especially the pelvic tilt. We'll be working a lot on this pelvic tilting because that's going to give us lots of stability to stay out of the lower back, to stay out of the back bend. It's not about tucking the tail and squeezing the glutes. So if you feel yourself getting to this position by contracting your glutes and tucking your tail, take that out of it and start exhaling. Draw in and up. Lift your pubic bone with your belly. Lift the front of your pelvis with your belly. Take these hip points and draw them up and in, and your belly button up and back, and you'll feel that start to connect. Then you can look at the hip crease here. Is it bent or is it open? You can look at neutral spine. You can look at the stacking of the joints. And you can feel all of that as well. But if you have a mirror, since you don't have a partner, since we're working virtually, if you have somebody in the house, you can ask them. If you don't have somebody, use a mirror. It's going to be super helpful when you are upside down, because once they say, or once you see that you got it, you can close your eyes and go, oh, that's what it feels like. Okay, that's the action I need to do internally to get that. So that'll be really helpful.